simply because the different steps you have to take to achieve a recall makes it very, very, very impractical and impossible to achieve. Perhaps the reason why it is so is because the politicians looked out for themselves in couching the laws that will, record the members of the National Assembly. Recall that in Kogi State, the attempt to recall Senator Dino Melaye failed because when the INEC put it on the crucible of tested the different signatures that were brought, it failed. It could not even meet the marginal number that was required, to initiate the referendum that will have recalled Dino. But having said that, again, it will also not be right to say that the process of recall of a member of the National Assembly should be made so easy so that it's prone to abuse. If that was the case, I assure you that we'll continue to see many of our legislators, being caught up in the vagaries of politics at home, perhaps between their governors or other political bigwigs.
Thank you, Mr. Madi. One other thing. So now you have listed a number of things that Mr. Madi,
without the
Mr. Madi, you listed a number of things that you believe that the president should do, and it's a concern of many other people. I saw a hashtag on Twitter, Buhari should, and there are so many things that everyone is talking about that, the president should do. And there are so many, few, and they are very, very far between so many things. What should, if you had to give him 3 main tasks, what would it be?
Look, I don't think that there is any more task to give the president than the task that he already gave himself when he was running for election in 2015. And those tasks, to my mind, have not been properly addressed, which is security, the economy, the two, one that quickly jumped to my mind now, the security and the economy and the war against corruption being the third. And if the president, it will be said that because he won his election, it will be said that perhaps he has delivered on that mandate, But then, if you look at it and look at the trend that you talked about, Buhari should, that tells you that perhaps again that the people feel that some of these challenges or some of these things that he set out to achieve have not been properly dealt with. So I will ask the president to put more vigor on the task that he gave to himself. The security in Nigeria is right now at an all-time low. The economy is just recovering at a very, very, very slow pace. The 1.6 to 2.2% GDP growth, which was achieved in the last quarter, is not enough for a country that has the kind of exponential population growth that we're having. In terms of corruption, it has been said that the war against corruption is looking more tainted, given by perhaps the political party or the affiliations you have with those in government. So I think that it should be a holistic, fight against corruption. And moving forward again, if I will also add number 4, the president should now focus on reuniting Nigerians, which he has set, a task that he has set for himself. Nigeria right now is more divided than when he inherited in 2015.
Okay, Mr. Madi, if I may just wade in here as well, as you have pointed some very critical areas that the president should focus on, one of which you said is security. Now let's look at security ahead of the governorship elections at the State House of Assembly that is coming up in a couple of days from now. We all know about the history of politics in Nigeria and elections in Nigeria and how we've had to record deaths before violence, before, during and after the elections. In Bauchi State, for instance, now we have reports just yesterday of people being killed as a result of supporters of the governor and supporters of another candidate in the process, and then shootings came out, people died. How do we prevent, what would you say the president should do about stopping or discouraging this kind of conduct?
Look, the violence is not even limited to those who want to run for elections in the next few days. As I speak to you right now, there's an unreported violence going on in areas of Abuja where supporters of a party that has just won are killing people in their celebrations. Now, I think that these are troubling things. The president needs to immediately begin to heal the nation, and by instructing the security operatives to step up to the plate. For places where there are still elections, in all the states, in many, I think 29 or 28 of the states, the president needs to, as a matter of urgency, direct that security operatives should be deployed in a non-partisan way. If this does not happen, I assure you that what we saw on last Saturday is just going to be what I call a storm.
What role?
In it is. I think the president needs to understand that post-election violence is capable of derailing democracy. In Rivers State, for example, the governor has been shouting that there is an attempt to use...
Okay, I'm just wondering, in addition to your comment, you could also follow up on that. What role do you see the Peace Committee playing now? Do they still have a role?
For me, the Peace Committee is mainly symbolic. It's symbolic, and the extent of its symbolism is to create an atmosphere of unity, even while we chase our different ambitions. Now, in 2015, the Peace Committee worked to the extent that there was a president who agreed, a sitting president who agreed to concede defeat when approached by members of the Peace Committee. Now, the Peace Committee in 2019, because of the ratcheting up of the rhetorics, came in to tone and allow the parties involved to take a step back and tone down their rhetorics. This is not a time for rhetoric. This is not a time for symbolism. This is a time for proactive actions. And the president, as the commander-in-chief, should take those actions, should take the lead. What we have right now is a situation where individuals may likely usurp the powers of the state to their advantage in terms of deployment of security operatives. Now, some flashpoints have been identified in the first elections. These flashpoints are in places like Lagos State, in Rivers State, in Bauchi, like you mentioned, parts of Kaduna. These flashpoints has been identified. You need to now look at the activities of the security operatives that are deployed on the day. Where they were found wanting, record those that participated on the day, bring in new ones, those whose actions on the day,
all right, Mr. Amadi,
them as not being partisan. Now,
all right, Mr. Chima Amadi, we appreciate your speaking with us this morning. Well, since the president has said he's going to work towards strengthening the peace and unity of this country, the PDP candidate has also said his supporters should remain calm while he has to challenge it in court. And other candidates have also subscribed to peace. Therefore, no one has any right whatsoever to take the laws into their hands to kill or attack anybody. Since those leaders have spoken, they expect every other person. And as you said, security should also look out. People need to key into that message. Thank you for your thoughts this morning. So we'll be back in a moment. Stay with us.
I'm grateful to God for sparing our lives to witness another milestone in Nigeria's democratic development, namely conclusion of the presidential elections in an overwhelmingly peaceful manner. I wish Mr. Chairman to congratulate all the presidential candidates and their teams on a hard-fought campaign. We may have had different views during the campaign, but the one thing most of us have in common is love of our country and our desire to improve conditions for Nigerians. From the comment of several observers, both local and foreign, it is obvious that the elections were both free and fair. Now that the elections are over and a winner declared, we must all see it as a victory for Nigeria, our dear country.
So need we say more? No one can take laws into their hands, having listened to that. So the rapprochement is there. They expect all to key in and ensure that peace reigns, which is the most important thing in no one's life. I mean, this election isn't enough. It never should involve anyone's life. There's a mail from Dr. Abel Odor. He's a concerned Nigerian. He writes in from Turkey. He says, "Thank you for your program on Nigeria's development with emphasis on agriculture. This should be piloted by clusters, as you had said, and operated through cooperatives. These have worked here in Turkey. Why not in Nigeria?" And look at this. It says, "If required, I'm here to help."
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's nice.
All hands on deck.
Yeah,
Abel Udo.
there's a lot of space for you, Abel Udo, in the hinterland. So,
Hinterland.
You know, in China, they are called the provinces, those hinterland. That's your favorite place.
Yeah.
They're called the provinces. And just moving from Beijing to
in
Hainan,
America?
for instance, or using the speed train, you'd see vast potentials and what they're doing with agriculture. No land seems to suggest in China that it's lying there barren and nothing, just wallowing away. It is put into use. And I think that will be the key for agriculture. As you travel from the north to the south, you just see bushes. Those should be converted to agricultural lands and producing food for this country.
I'll call them fertile land, because they're all green, not just brown.
So there you go. There's a lot ahead, but that's the show today. Thank you all for watching. We will see you tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain Oso.
Keep the peace. I'm Gimba Umar.
And be good. I'm Ayo Makine.
On this program are those of the maker and do not reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.